Hi everybody, today me and Elizabeth would like to show you the garden gnomes. So we had these on Create and Craft a couple of weeks ago, and we know a few of you have been wanting to know how you recreate these designs. So myself and Elizabeth, we're going to be going through some of the techniques that we did on the gnomes that you saw on the show and how you can adapt these techniques to create your own gnomes. So Elizabeth, which one are you painting today?
So we know that you loved when David did the Santa Claus on Create and Craft. So
Yes.
I'm going to show you a little bit more in depth how to put clothes onto the gnomes, how to put little jackets onto them, and how I sort of like plan out a map where I'm going to draw things. So I'm going to show you how really quick, easy and effective it is, and how I plan where I want things to look. So I'm going to show you first of all how I did the jacket on the Santa. So I like to take a pencil, or sometimes I use paint, like watered down acrylic, or a pen, but I'm going to use a pencil today.
Because it's interesting because they've got clothes on already, the gnomes, haven't they? So they've already got a lot of jackets and aprons on. But what Elizabeth's doing is so interesting because you can completely disguise that and put your own elements on there. As you can see, we've got two gnomes next to us that are complete polar opposites. But they've got similar features, but they're all recreated just with the Cadence products. So what are you actually creating?
So I wanted to show you how to do the jacket. I really thought about this and how I wanted to plan it because, like David said, they all have these like little hoodies on with the toggles and the pocket, but you don't have to have that outfit on every single one. We've got the wizard that I'll show you in a second, that'll put like a little cape on him, and a fluffy jacket on the Santa, and I think we kept on doing it all different ways.
So many different designs.
Yeah, you can keep going wherever, but it doesn't mean that you have to be like an artist to create these. I'm just going to plan out a map where I want things to go. So I've popped the jacket outline on here, so this is just a really rough line on where I want it to go. I'm going to do the other side as well. So I know that I want the jacket to come down. This is going to be where the fluff's going to sit. It's going to come underneath.
So when you're putting the paints over that, will that cover the pencil lines?
Oh yeah.
So it's not going to stay on there, you can still, so it's as a guide for your design really.
Yeah, so the Cadence paint's really high pigmented, so it covers all surfaces. And then I know I wanted a little belt on here as well, so I'm just going to roughly mark that in. Little buckle going on, come down.
So I found some elements I freehanded, which was a little bit risky, which I will show you a little bit of. But for those of you that like to colour in and draw, or like to use your pens to colour in, this really is what that is. It's colouring in, so you're choosing sections to add colour to. And a lot of people don't like being told to stay in the lines. I know I don't. So with this, you can really go as far as you want with it. Go over the lines, your Cadence paint's going to cover it back up. So you've got loads of versatility with it.
Oh, 100%. So I was going to show you. So we've got the belt on, we've got the jacket lines, and as you can see, it's just a really rough outline. It's nothing neat, and I know that as soon as, like, if I've changed any lines, I can just cover it up with the Cadence paints if I feel like they're not quite where I want them to be. And I'm going to put structure paste over there as well, and I can show you that you can get it really messy and it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start off with painting his jacket. So I know that's got to go onto him first. So I'm going to take a little bit of paint.
One thing we did as well, which I thought was a really good tip you might have seen on the show, was actually using a roll of tape to actually put underneath the gnome to keep him in place, because it's quite interesting. We found that we were cradling them, weren't we, like babies, painting them or having them on our laps, and actually putting just a roll of tape underneath them where the hands are crossed keeps them nice and steady.
No, when I saw you do that on the show, I thought, what a brilliant idea. We've not done that for the whole time we were painting them. So all I'm going to do is, I know that this bit here is for the white of the structure paste, so I can just really roughly paint this in. Not being too careful. Just going over, brushing it on. You did this on the show, didn't you? And loads of people loved it.
That's the thing. I think seeing how well the coverage sort of adheres, because these are a polyester resin, these gnomes, so they've got a really nice key to the surface of them. They give nice texture, and the Cadence paint adheres to that instantly, and you get a full coverage with it. So you only need to apply one coat, or if you wanted to get different effects, you can sand them down, apply other coats, mix different paints. But one thing that I just absolutely fell in love with is the consistency of the paint and how well it adheres to all of the surfaces.
Just how easy it is to blend as well into other colours. Use your distress paste on there, and or your Dora paints as well. The Dora paints apply on it lovely, don't they?
They do, yeah. And these are the hybrid acrylics, so they're going to go onto your gnome, which can then sit in the garden. it's going to be waterproof, so they work on your interior and exterior surfaces as well. So they're an all-round paint. They're brilliant. You don't need 10 different paints. You just need one paint to do those 10 jobs.
I think with the Christmas one as well, we said it would be nice to like sit on your mantelpiece or at the front door.
Yeah,
like it
definitely.
can go inside or outside. It doesn't really matter. Lovely, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to do one side. So as you can see, it's messy, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to take my structure paste and just a palette knife. So I'm going to be using a palette knife because I can lift up all the textures and get that really fluff-like texture of Father Christmas's coat. Just make him look a little bit more realistic. So depending on what size gnome you've got, we do 2 different sizes. So this is a smaller one today, so I know that I'm going to be using, like needing to get into smaller areas, so I'm using a smaller palette knife. And all I'm going to do is pop a little bit of paste on.
And that's
Spread
Ivor,
it
that
round.
one. Is it Ivor? You've got Ivor, the big one's
think
Kevin.
so.
We've got Florence. We've
And
got a little Heidi that's
Heidi.
down here as well. Little family of
I
4.
can't decide which one's my favourite, you know.
You know, I think when I saw this Father Christmas one, I absolutely loved it so much. So I was in love with Kevin, and then I did The Witch, and I was in love with Florence. So I think I need all 4
I really
of
like my
them.
bride that I did as well.
The bride and groom, they're
Bride and
amazing.
groom. So you just keep working with it, doing it in a lifting motion. So apply it and work back into it. I think I like it as well more when the structure paste is just going off a little bit, so it's just drying, and then you can go back in and lift that texture.
Yeah.
And that looks really effective as well. And then when it's dry, you can go over the top of it with your waxes or your sparkle and twinkle, add glitter to it as you're going along, just making it so Christmassy. I think everyone's getting into the Christmas spirit now as it's quickly approaching. It's not long left at all, is it?
It's not. It's a little bit. It's exciting, but yeah, you can also put your heat gun on that as well and
Oh
puff
yeah,
it
and
up.
puff it up.
Yeah, which always looks really nice, especially when you use your structure paste for a stencil. It gives you that really nice embossed, raised finish. It's really nice.
There we are, and as you can see, because it's going smaller, I'll turn it around and show you in a second because I need to get up into this part near his hood and his collar. Because we're using smaller tools, you can get right in there and pop it on there.
He's got a little jacket.
There we are. Right, let me turn it around and show you.
The big reveal.
So look, just from planning and mapping out where I'm going to place things, it just gives it a more organised structure. So I did the same with the wizard. So the wizard has a little jacket on it, sort of like imitate a little cape. So all I've done is I painted the white piece first, so the top has to go on first, and then I mapped out the line, and then I've just given it a little bit of shading so it looks really nice and curled over like a cape would. And then I've just added shape and dimension. So you can keep going with these, the possibilities are endless, and you can keep adding different sort of clothing, different sort of outfits on there, which I think's
Yeah,
it
it is
really
nice
cool.
because yeah, you've got four designs of gnomes, but you can keep going and create whatever you want to.
Yes.
I know a few of you, well, loads of you in fact, loved these gnomes and loved seeing all the samples on the show. And one of my favourites was the witch. And this one, it was actually really easy to paint. It's got loads of different colours on there, loads of different detail elements, but it was so easy to create because I realised, well, I knew I wanted to create stripes. We all like those witches stripes on the tights and the jackets.
So it's really
And
easy
all I did-
recognisable, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. So I wanted something that was really eye-catching straight away. So all I use is my mixed media tape to actually mask off the strips and paint in between each line. So it looks almost like a sort of vinyl, but it's actually hand-painted. So all I did was mask off each layer to get the little strips in there, and I kept going with it. And something really easy as well, if you're a bit unconfident with detail painting, is make use of your tools. So what I want to show you is actually how I created these little blobs on the hat, because at first sight when I saw Elizabeth's, you'd painted the stars on,
I'd
hadn't you?
hand-painted the stars on, and it was a bit more advanced, and it did take me
Yeah.
a long time, and I thought, oh, brilliant, you've done those.
Yeah, and you
stars
could
out.
do that as well
Yeah.
with the sponges, but with this all I did, we've got Florence here again, so the difference between the two, you can see that she can be a witch or she can be a nice cute little garden gnome. And what I did was I actually took a little bit of my gold hybrid metallic. So take a little bit out And I'm using an ink dauber here, and you can see it's just a bit of foam on a wooden brush, and they're really easy to use, they're perfect. And all I did to create that effect was I took a little bit of paint on my sponge and started to go around the front. So I'll just show you how I actually created this. So if I take my sponge, it's just done just like that, and give it a little wiggle and press it down, it will give you the circles.
See, I didn't know that you'd done that like that.
Yeah,
I thought,
it's
he
really
must
easy
have
to do.
spent ages making those into perfect circles, or he must have had like a magic stencil or something that I didn't know about.
It's so easy to do, and you can, if you think about it, if you get a sponge, a washing up sponge, or some of your cut and use, cut those into any shape that you want.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like your potato stamps. You've instantly got a stamp or a sponge
You
stamp.
said that about the stars on my on my hat, and I thought, oh, I could have done it like that and saved myself loads of time.
Well, exactly, but that's the whole point of it, isn't it? Is learning which techniques.
Learning along the way from each other.
Exactly. And you can keep obviously going with that until you're happy with it. But that's how I created the design on top of here. And another element that you might be thinking is the glittery finish on a hat. And I used the Cadence shake and gilt for that. So I didn't mask any of it off. I literally sat her on my patio and spritzed her all over with this, and it gave an instant glitter. And then if you use anything that's like a glitter or a sort of a spritzer that's got a shimmer in it, you then want to give them a coat of varnish if you're going to want to make them wipeable or be able to go outside and be waterproof. But they're the really sort of basic, easy techniques that create these really nice detailed gnomes.
I think that's going to look great at Halloween, especially like
Yes.
outside your door.
Yeah.
Or even inside your house as
So
well.
lovely.
To keep her inside.
Yeah, so we'll keep designing with them. But yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed the show and get painting with your gnomes. We'd love to see what you create with them as
show
well.
us what you make, 'cause we'd love to see.
Thank you.
you.